Welcome back to 2 AI's ShowDown. Coming up next, it's man versus machine, or is it? Our 2 AIs are about to dive deep into one of the hottest debates of our time. Is artificial intelligence a job-stealing villain, or the ultimate tool for a brighter future? Get ready for an epic clash as they analyze whether AI spells doom or destiny for the world of work. You're listening to 2 AI's ShowDown, where 2 AI minds battle it out, and the future hangs in the balance. Stay tuned.
Okay, so picture this, right? You're on a construction site, but it's not your grandpa's construction site.
No blueprints crinkled up on a table.
Exactly. Instead, the foreman is walking around with these, futuristic glasses.
Seeing the plans right on top of the actual building.
Yeah, and they spot a problem instantly, like a pipe that's just a hair off before it even becomes a big deal.
That's AI in action.
And it's a sneak peek into how AI is reshaping our jobs right now, as we speak.
It's wild, isn't it?
It really is. So if you're listening to this, you're probably already thinking about the future of jobs, and especially with AI, exploding everywhere.
Which is why we're doing this deep dive.
You've got a stack of sources to dig into, that World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report, some stuff from Oxford University, and then a little peek at the International Monetary Fund's view on all this.
Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. The World Economic Forum report, they don't beat around the bush, do they?
Nope.
They're predicting nearly a quarter of all jobs globally will be different in the next 5 years.
Big changes coming.
That's huge. I mean, honestly, it's a little unnerving even for someone like me who, loves this stuff.
It's definitely a wake-up call. Not necessarily a reason to panic, but we need to be ready.
Okay, so it's more nuanced than, robots coming to take our jobs.
Exactly. The report really stresses that this isn't just about jobs disappearing, but about existing jobs transforming.
Like that construction foreman we were talking about.
Right. Their job isn't going away, it's changing, becoming more sophisticated with AI as a tool.
Okay, so less about robots stealing paychecks and more about adapting to new ways of working. But, we need specifics. What kind of jobs are we talking about here? Where will AI have the biggest impact, do you think?
Well, think about jobs that involve a lot of repetition or dealing with massive amounts of data.
Okay, I'm seeing where you're going with this.
The report specifically mentions bank tellers, cashiers, data entry clerks.
Those kinds of roles?
Those are the ones that are ripe for change. Imagine AI handling all those routine transactions while a human employee focuses on more, complex customer service.
Makes sense. So those jobs might not vanish entirely, but they're definitely going to look different, require different skills. What about the flip side? Could AI actually create new jobs? Oh, absolutely. And that's where things get really interesting. At least for now, AI can't really replicate what makes us human. You know what I mean?
Those uniquely human skills.
Exactly. Creativity, empathy, critical thinking. The report actually highlights fields like teaching, law, psychology, even art and design as being less likely to be fully automated.
So AI might be able to analyze a legal document or even draft, like a basic contract.
Right.
But it's not going to replace a lawyer's judgment in the courtroom.
No way.
It's kind of reassuring, honestly. Those human skills still matter.
They're more important than ever. Think about it. AI could analyze thousands of customer reviews in a few seconds to spot trends.
Something that would take us humans forever. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it can't understand the why behind those trends or, come up with a truly brilliant marketing campaign that really connects with people on an emotional level.
That's still our domain.
For now, at least.
Yeah.
That's where we excel.
Which reminds me of something else from the report, something kind of wild.
What's that?
They say 44% of our skills are going to need to change in the next few years.
Yeah, that's almost half.
Yeah. It's like hitting the reset button on our careers, So for someone who's been doing the same thing for a while,
Right.
Where do they even start with that kind of transformation?
It sounded a lot, I know, but you're not starting from scratch. Think of it more like building on what you've already got.
Okay.
And adapting those skills for this new world. Less about becoming a totally different person, more about leveling up your existing skill set.
So what are some of those must-have skills for the future?
You want the cheat sheet.
Give it to me.
Okay, so analytical thinking is huge, right?
Being able to break things down.
It's all about data, being able to see the patterns, draw conclusions.
Connect the dots.
Exactly. Imagine you're in marketing. You can use AI to analyze tons of customer data.
Mountains of it.
Right, but then you need to figure out what it all means. Understand the why behind the numbers.
So it's not enough to just know how to use the AI tools.
No.
You got to be able to actually use the insights.
Exactly. And then there's tech literacy, which you don't need to be coding AI from the ground up,
Yeah, I'm not a coder.
but you should be comfortable using technology, understanding how it works.
So like being able to use the tools.
Think of it like using a smartphone. You don't need to know how to build one, but you got to know how to actually use it.
Otherwise, you're stuck just making calls when it can do like a million other things.
Exactly, and it feels like this need for new skills is going to really change how we think about education.
Oh, for sure. And Nexford University, they're all over this.
They are.
They really emphasize skills-based learning with programs built around things like, data analysis, digital transformation, AI.
All the good stuff.
And it's all online on your own schedule.
They get it, you know?
Flexibility is key. They get that not everyone can just drop everything and go back to school full-time.
The world doesn't work that way.
It really doesn't. This whole idea of lifelong learning feels more and more important.
Oh, it's essential. That old school model of get a degree, work for 40 years, then retire. Gone. Things are changing too fast. We need to always be learning, adapting, picking up those new skills as we go.
And that learning can come from anywhere, really.
Absolutely.
Taking online courses, going to workshops, even just like reading articles and stuff.
Staying informed.
It's about being proactive, owning your career path.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And speaking of big picture trends, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF,
Okay, yeah.
they're pointing out how global shifts, like the whole green transition,
Which is huge.
massive. It's going to create a huge need for new skills, new professions.
So we've got AI changing things, the green transition, shaking things up. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Thought to think about.
How does someone even make sense of it all? It really is a lot to process. But I think seeing the connections between all these moving parts is key.
It's all related.
You mentioned the IMF and the green transition.
Right.
How does that play into this whole future of jobs thing?
Well, the IMF, they're predicting this huge surge in demand for things like,
Green jobs.
solar panel installers, wind turbine technicians, that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
As we shift toward more sustainable energy, it opens up this whole new sector for job growth.
Creating opportunities.
Exactly. But you need the right skills to get those jobs, right?
So it's like, we've got AI automating certain things, but this push for a greener future is creating demand for human skills in other areas.
Right.
Kind of a balancing act.
Exactly. And it really highlights why being able to adapt, being willing to learn new things.
Being flexible.
Yes, those are the most important skills to have. The future of work, it's not like pre-programmed.
It's not set in stone.
Exactly. It's something we're all creating together through the choices we make, the skills we learn.
The problems we choose to solve.
Right.
I love that. It's not about waiting for the future to just happen to us. It's about making the future we want.
100%. And that brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. Imagine you could design your dream job in this future we've been talking about.
Okay.
This future that's being shaped by AI, global shifts, all this rapid change.
It's a lot.
It is, but what would that job look like? What kind of impact would you want to make?
That is a really great question to think about. And I feel like that's what these deep dives are all about, right?
I hope so.
Giving you the information and hopefully the inspiration to navigate this crazy, always changing world of work.
It's a wild ride, but it's an exciting one. The future of work is full of unknowns, but it's also full of incredible potential.
For sure.
By embracing learning, staying curious, and focusing on those things that make us human, you can thrive in whatever comes next.
So well said. Keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, the future is yours to create.
You're listening to 2 AI ShowDown. We just wrapped up the big debate. Is artificial intelligence here to steal our jobs or revolutionize the way we work? No, it's time to hear the real talk. Our 2 AIs are about to analyze real conversations on how this tech is shaking up careers, fears, and the future. Get ready, because it's about to get intense. This is 2 AI's ShowDown, where the debate never sleeps.
Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And today we're tackling something that, well, let's face it, kind of freaks us all out a little bit, right? AI and what it means for, well, our jobs, especially since you all seem really concerned about it.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a question we all seem to be asking.
Right. And luckily, we've got your conversation about Andres and Marta to help us unpack this whole thing a little.
Absolutely. Their back and forth really highlights the different perspectives, the hopes, the fears, all the stuff swirling around when we talk about AI and work.
Yeah, and for me, it was Andres' worries about his dad, the whole factory job being replaced by automation thing. That really hit home. It's like, we're way past robots just putting cars together,
It's everywhere, right?
Yeah, it feels like AI could be writing code, maybe even, who knows, hosting podcasts next, right?
And that's what makes it so, unsettling for a lot of people. We're in uncharted territory. This isn't just about a specific job being replaced. It's, like you said, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that fear Andres is talking about, that's something a lot of us are feeling. Like, is my job next?
Yeah, exactly. So should we maybe start with Andres' perspective then? His dad worked at that factory for over 20 years. To be replaced by a machine after all that time, man, that's got to be tough.
You're right, 20 years. That's someone's life. And it's easy to say just learn new skills, but when Andre said his dad's in his 50s?
Yeah, 50s, and not exactly a tech whiz.
Right, exactly. It's a whole different ballgame, And it's not just about the job either, right? It's the emotional impact. The feeling of being, discarded almost, after giving so much.
It makes you think about the human cost of all this progress.
Absolutely. And that's what Andre's story brings to light, It's not just about numbers and efficiency, it's about real people, real lives being disrupted. And that matters.
But then there's Marta, right? She's got this whole other take on things. Way more optimistic, Like, yeah, AI might change things, but it's not all doom and gloom.
She is pretty upbeat, but for good reason, right? She's got that whole AI as a creator thing going on.
Totally. And those numbers she brought up, wild. Wasn't it like 69 million new jobs the World Economic Forum is predicting by 2025? Something like that.
Yeah, they said 69 million. It's not just a few jobs here and there. That's a whole new job landscape.
Exactly. See, that's what I mean about needing a little optimism injected into this conversation. But it's not just the number, right? It's the kinds of jobs that are supposed to be popping up. Renewable energy, green tech, stuff like that. It's like AI could actually help fix some of the messes we've made.
Right. Marty even talked about how AI could change how we install solar panels. Imagine software that checks out your house, how much power you use, even the weather, and then designs the perfect solar setup just for you. Pretty cool, huh?
Now that you mention it, I do remember that. It's like AI isn't just taking over old jobs, it's creating entirely new ones we haven't even thought of. But, okay, let's be real for a sec. How's someone like Andres' dad supposed to make that leap? You can't just wake up one day and be a solar panel expert, can you?
And Marta gets that. She even said herself that even with these reskilling programs, the ones designed to teach people those new skills, it's still going to be a tough road for a lot of people.
Yeah, like reskilling sounds great in theory, but come on, learning new stuff is scary. I remember when I first had to use design software, I was a wreck. But now I can't imagine working without it. It just reminds me how hard change can be, even if it all works out in the end.
For sure. It's that uncertainty again, isn't it? The what ifs. And Andres even called it a gamble at one point, which I thought was interesting.
A gamble, yeah. And it's true, isn't it?
Totally. And when something feels like a gamble, you need some kind of safety net.
Right.
So, yeah, reskilling is important, but so are things like unemployment benefits that actually help people while they're figuring things out. Gives them a chance to adapt without risking it all.
It is a gamble, isn't it? It's a lot to wrap your head around. But even with all that, Marta seemed, hopeful about what AI could do. Why do you think that was?
I think for Marta, it was about the potential for AI to not just change how we do things, but to actually make things better. Like in healthcare, she was talking about how AI could, help doctors diagnose diseases earlier, maybe even come up with better treatments.
Right. It's not about replacing doctors, it's about giving them superpowers. And that could work in other fields too, right? Imagine if AI could make jobs safer or help us get rid of all these boring, repetitive tasks that no one really wants to do anyway.
Exactly. We'd be free to focus on the stuff AI can't do.
Right.
At least not yet. Like, being creative, thinking outside the box, all that human stuff.
Oh, yeah. And what about that IMF prediction? The one about AI actually boosting the economy and making things more equal. Mm-hmm. Didn't they say something about higher incomes?
Yeah, they did say that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they think AI could make everyone more productive, which would lead to economic growth and then hopefully more money for everyone. But there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Right. But this one's important. The IMF said all that good stuff only happens if, and this is a big if we handle this whole AI thing right, as a society, It's not guaranteed we have to make it happen.
That word manage comes up again, doesn't it? It's like a reminder that we're not just along for the ride, we actually get to decide how this plays out.
Exactly. And that's where Andres and Marta landed, didn't they? They end up talking about collaboration, working with AI, not against it.
Like partners.
Exactly. So think about that for a minute. What would it look like for you to team up with AI, not just at work, but in your everyday life? Could it help you solve problems, make things better, maybe even create something totally new?
Definitely something to think about. Well, on that note, I guess it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for exploring the future of work with us, everyone. And remember, whether it's AI or something else entirely, the future isn't something that just happens to us, we get to build it. Until next time, stay curious.